Hi everyone, if you're watching a recording, do fast forward about a minute today. We are actually on time. I'm going to get started real soon here. Okay. I think Twitter is even up and running, which is pretty cool. All right. Annie says there's nothing, but I know it's running. Couple more things here. Hi everyone on YouTube. I understand that it's up and running right now. Let's see. Let me check my side. See what's going on. Yep, everything shows connected except for my personal page. Sort of interesting. But do we care about the personal page? Not so much. Let's get started. It's 1 o'clock. Today is Monday, March 28th. Last Monday of the month. Oh my gosh. First quarter. Almost in the bag. How quickly that has happened. But with March means it's almost spring, or actually, spring has officially started. But we had 3 inches of snow yesterday. Can you believe that? That was totally crazy. And 70-degree weather the week before. So it's what I call roller coaster weather for March and May. It's always roller coaster weather. You never know what you're going to get. And I'm hoping that they don't kill the crocuses and the daffodils that are coming up out in the yard, because they were just blooming. Oh my gosh. And now there's snow on them. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, today is Monday, making it start something new on Mondays. We've been doing this for the last, 4 or 5 weeks. We started a couple new things, stone and stone, castellated bezels, and was there something else? But today we're going to do spoon rings, and the premise of this series is to attack things that I have never done before. I've never taught it. I've never tried it. Don't know much about it. We work through the process, because my goal is to show you my mistakes, I guess. Is to learn, to have you learn with me. It's a process. It's a process jumping into anything new, and we have to work through it and all the steps that it takes to make it happen. So today we are broadcasting on 5 channels. So Facebook, my personal page, on the Q Talk Facebook page. So if you're not on the Q Talk Facebook page, do jump on over and join us there. Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. So it's all up and running as far as I can tell. Wait, I'm going to double check YouTube. I'm sorry, not YouTube. I'm checking. I am checking. Hold on. Twitter. Wait, so. Okay, the only one not up is my personal page. I'm going to turn it on and off. I'm going to toggle it off and toggle it back on, see if I can get it to connect. So I don't know why it's not connecting, but that's okay. Like I said, we're here on the more important places. Anyway, so spoon rings. As much as I say spoon rings, all you see are forks and one spoon, right? I don't even know why they call it spoon rings. I guess, at some point people were making it from a lot of spoons, but you can clearly make it from forks too, because these rings are typically about the shank and the handle of these utensils. So, but from what I understand, the one thing you really sort of don't want to do is you don't exactly want to use knives, because they're so much thicker, right? So unless your shank or your handle is thinner, you probably don't want to use a knife. Okay, so that said, what I did was I went ahead and went up to the thrift store. It's a very interesting thrift store that's up here in Cuyahoga Valley. That's right. And it benefits the local humane society. So it's sort of cool now that we have a puppy, It's like, oh, hey, I get it now. I didn't know what it was for. What it was benefiting before, but I kept seeing all the dog stuff. Well, now I get it. I get why there's so much there in dog stuff. So it's been sort of fun going in there. This particular store just always has a lot of stuff that is usable. So what I found was a handful of utensils, some of which are silver plated, and you can tell by reading the back. And sometimes these things aren't marked, and the only reason why I know this is because when I would go antique shopping or go to flea markets, I would actually just buy these for friends. I don't exactly buy them for myself. What am I going to do with it, right? Anyway, so that said, I would be looking at the back to see what it says. So, of course, you always hope that you find the one that says sterling silver and they don't know it and you get it for like $1. That would be great. But mostly it's silver plated. And if it's not silver plated, what I've done in the past is I take that name and that brand or that mark that's on there and I Google it. And it tells me what I need to know. So, Google's always a good friend to have around for information. So these are silver plated, and then I have some of these which are stainless steel. Now, I don't see, when I walk around at art shows and whatnot, I really don't see stainless steel spoon rings. And I'm guessing it is because it is so hard to bend. Not really clear what other reason you would have for not using stainless steel other than it's just really, really hard to work with. Okay. And then that said, the other reason why I went ahead and picked it up is I got all of these for, I think, $1, maybe $2. And I got them because we started, if you've been following along, we started buying these stainless steel forks to use in enameling. So what we've been doing is we've flattened these puppies out, take out one of the tines. Actually, I have one here so I can show you, and use it to lift our enamel pieces off of our trivet. Of course, mine's missing. Why is it missing? Is it in my enamel box? Oh, I don't know why. Mine's missing from my little carousel here. But anyway, so you would just saw off one of these tines and you would use it with your enameling, and you put it on the trivets, because what you would do is just put it in and lift your piece off. So this was a really cool idea brought to us by one of our viewers. So that's why I have these. If we get ambitious, I'll jump in and see if I can try one and see if it works. But anyway, the other thing too, the other reason why I bought these, so it also came with these 2 forks. I have no clue what these 2 forks are for. I've never seen them before, and I was like, you know what, it'll be interesting. I'll put it on the video and see if any of you guys out there can figure out what they're for or tell me what they're for. But this one, did you see that? It's closed up on top. And I was thinking this morning, I wonder if this is one of those things that you're supposed to shave butter with, maybe? You know how you make those butter curls? I don't know. Thinking that maybe this is what this is for. This, again, no clue why you would have a fork with such short tines, but it was just sort of funny too. I was thinking, look, it's sort of like if you put eyes and a nose and a mouth, this could be the hair and it could be a really funny face. Anyway, it's sort of a thought. Okay, so I digress. That said, that leaves me with 2 silver plated utensils, okay? And I was looking at this a little bit closer. I'm going to show you. And I was trying to figure out how I want to handle this. So of course you can make a bypass ring and make it like a spiral if they're thin enough. But these are sort of thick, so I think I'm going to go with just the thickness of it and go with what I have. The other thing too is this is also fairly long. So you can, I think you can use, let's see, yeah, this is like 5.5. I think if you cut it correctly, you can use you can use one handle to make 2 rings, was sort of what I was thinking today. As I was getting ready for this live, I was just checking it out to see what I had here and whether or not I actually had enough, like in this handle, to make 2, because I was thinking, oh, do I really want to cut it here? This would be too long, and then it's going to go under the ring unless I make it into a spiral, which I didn't want to do. But how cool would it be if I went ahead and cut this design out and make that the other end of a second ring? So I think we're going to work with this one today and see where we go with it. Okay, so the thing about this and why I've always hesitated to do anything with spoon rings is because they're plated. Of course, if it was sterling silver, it's not a big deal. We just jump right in, heat it like anything else that you have that's sterling silver. Add gems to it, solder to it, whatever. But really, you can't exactly heat this stuff up because it's plated, which means it's going to melt off or flake off the plating. And I'm sure many of you have silver plated utensils that have been used for a long time or was passed down and they're antiques, and you'll see that it's worn off. So then what? What is actually underneath that? That's another thing that sort of concerns me too, is I don't know what's underneath this stuff. Because if it's stainless steel and you throw it in your pickle, you're going to cause yourself a little problem. So it's also questionable what's going to happen here. But let's see how it goes. So we're going to switch over cameras in just a second. What are you going to need today? I'm guessing that you're going to need a bench block. I know you're going to need a mallet, a saw blades, some cut lube, and definitely a ring mandrel so that we can bend this around the ring mandrel. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch cameras. Give me just a second here. There we go. And see, oops, what we can do. Let's move this over. All right. Uh-oh. Hold on. I hear Andy upstairs. I thought that Titus was all settled in, but if he's moving around, that means something's up with the puppy. Uh-oh. All right, so we'll go ahead and lubricate this. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to saw this off into proportions that I think is a little bit more workable. And as I mentioned, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just follow this design here, because I feel like it could be really cute and really interesting to use that as a detail at the end of one of the rings. I think you can see that there. Okay, let's move this over just a little bit. There we go. Okay, so I put some cut lube or wax onto my saw blade, and we're just using this jeweler's saw, and I am using a heavier saw blade. I'm guessing that this is not going to be so easy to saw, right? So going heavier should be a little bit more helpful. I will tell you, here we are, my first one sawing. It does feel a little different than what I am used to. And you know what's sort of fun is if you look on, say, Pinterest, which I have in the past. If you look on Pinterest, you'll see that it's you'll see that there's a lot of people doing a lot of fun stuff, especially with the forks and the fork tines, to make interesting designs like octopuses and squids and all kinds of stuff. Okay, so I already see a problem here. I don't think you can see this, but the back of my saw blade, the back of my saw is bumping into the what is this? The spoon? So this ought to be interesting. So it's not going where I want it to go. So we'll just work with it. Maybe we'll just file it down. Okay, yeah, it's not letting me make my churn. So I'm gonna back out, and then we'll do it again from the other direction. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna cut this right off. So I was thinking that I would cut the design because I was hoping to save myself a little bit of time, because why cut twice, right? But it's not playing nice. So we're gonna go ahead and cut right across. I get the feeling that if you do a Google search on whichever brand utensil you have, you'll be able to find out what the base is. Is it copper? Is it nickel? What is it? And this will help you figure out what you can do with it going forward. Okay. Tighten that up a little bit more. My bench pin got loose. Okay, so there's my first cut. Honestly, it looks like nickel. It looks like nickel. But we'll see. All right, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this end off too. And you know, I think I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can score this into maybe a rounded shape. Okay, so I can tell by the design that this is the center right here. So let's see, maybe I should do it like that. I can't see anything. So if you can't see your score mark, one of the tricks that you can do is you can take out a Sharpie, color in that area. There's a tip for the day. And then use your divider to score, and you should be able to score right into, yeah, that Sharpie mark. Oh yeah. Okay, can you see that? And now you can see your score. Woohoo! I think that made it pretty darn perfect. So it'll give me a nice little guide instead of guessing. Making things symmetrical just sort of suck. So when you can help yourself, definitely help yourself. You can draw in the line too if you want. But I thought scoring it might be the easiest way to go. You know, I'm going to back it out. Okay. And I'm going to put some more cut lube on here. It's really fighting me. But again, I'm using a really heavy blade. I'm using a number 3 blade. Hoping that it would make quicker work for me. Okay, so sizing. Of course, I'm just going to take whatever size this is long enough for, you know what I mean? I'm just going to go with it. But if you need to size it, clearly you're going to lose some of your design and you're going to have to cut it down to the size that you need. Just remember, when you're talking about ring shank, you need somewhere between 2.5 and 3 inches of length to get to have enough stock for a ring. Oh, for goodness sakes. Really fighting here. There we go. Don't fight your stock so much because it'll break. Try to let your saw do all of the work when you are sawing. Okay. You don't want to know what I'm thinking, but I'm thinking this is a sort of an interesting little bowl for myself for later. We're gonna set that aside. I don't know. You know, we like our little containers, don't we? Okay, here we are. So through all that sawing, I bent the ring, which is fine, because we'll just bend it back. And here I am just going to saw out this design and see where it goes. Lots of sawing. Okay. Almost there. Wow. This isn't fun. I don't know who said this was going to be fun. Wow, okay. Let's back it out. Let's do this some more. Let's go the other direction. Okay, I'm just gonna pick this off like that. Okay, that goes into my metal scrap. Yes, I have a container for miscellaneous metal. and then we're going to come in from the other direction. Let's put some more lube on there. So I'm trying to find a place on my bench pin that gives me the most amount of leverage here, because you want both ends to be sitting on something, or else it's just going to start flailing. So we're just making this little churn. I'm going to try to pay attention to the design a little bit. Done. And you know, maybe this is not as symmetrical as I thought it was. It looks like it's a hair off. Sort of interesting, right? Meaning the design that was in the spoon. That when they went to stamp it, because these things are stamped out for sure. Okay, there it is. Let's put a file to this. I'm going to pull out two files and put a flat file and my round file, because I have this round edge here. I think it'll be nice. Oops. To be able to get into it like so. You know, use the tools that you have. If you have a round file, why not use it? A needle file here I'm sure would work too. Okay. So I'm just going to file the edges down a little bit to remove any burrs and to make it a little bit smoother. I'm going to round this side off too, because it's going to be exposed. So we want to round it. So anything, actually that's funny because I'm looking at the back going, oh, that's a nice design too. But anyway, anything that's exposed, do go ahead and file it down to create a nice smooth edge. Okay, almost there. And I'm probably going to hit this with a little bit of sandpaper just to ensure that it's nice and smooth. Okay, so if I feel anything sharp, I'll just take it off. Take off the sharpness. Just by taking that, just by running your file along those edges, you'll take off any of those sharpness that's there. Okay. So I have a little bit of a rough edge on the inside of this. We'll go ahead and put that round file back in there and see if we can take some of that off. Just to make it a little bit more refined. I know that this is an experiment, but why not try to do it right? It could be an experiment that works out. Because you don't want to get this to a place where you can't get into those spots. So once you churn it, it might be a little bit harder. So while it's still easy, let's go ahead and clean it up. Okay. Feels pretty good. I'm going to grab some sandpaper and just sort of run through it. So something that you need to remember too, as I'm thinking through this, is that, you know, this is a plated piece of metal, which means these ends are not plated. And so I get a feeling that when I clean this up, it's going to look a little bit different. Just remember that. This does matter. Okay. All right, let's switch over cameras here. And let's take a look. Hold on a second. Need to put some tools away so I have room to work. Oops. Camera cords all over the place here. All right, so take out our mandrel and see. We're about to find out how well this thing bends. Or doesn't. Wish me luck. So I'm going to start small, not knowing how big this is going to get. Will she? And I have it on my wedge, and we're just gonna. Now you can put this on your ring bender if you happen to have one. I do not. I'm just gonna bend it around. My mandrel knows how I'm doing that. So now I've got my bend, and I'm just gonna keep working it like so. Okay, it is a little tough. It's not so easy to bend. But again, I'm going to continue to do it at a very small size. I'm at a 5, and it looks like this will bend over to at least a 7. But I prefer to start small and then push it out. When I'm making a ring, that is. Because it's easier to make it larger than it is to make it smaller. Ooh, this might end up at about like a 7.5, which is not a bad size. When you're hitting it, hit it deliberately, not little taps, nice big taps, okay? There we go, look at that. Not bad. Not bad. We are almost at an 8. Actually, it's sort of a cool ring. Look at that. Okay, we're going to keep going here. Let's see if we can make this round. So I'm addressing areas that are a little bit challenged and hitting down on it. Okay, there we go. There goes my fork off the bench. Okay, because I have a gap, I'm moving it back up to try to get this a little bit smaller. Okay. So you can see I have a tiny bit of a gap right here. See that? So I'm going to try to push that down. The metal has gotten hard, clearly, because I've been hitting on it. And this is not soft metal. It's sort of hard. So what I'm working on right now is continually, I keep stopping and looking to see if I can get it round. And you know, I can see that this handle is a little thick. You can see how thick that is? It's a little thick. It's probably 2.5 millimeters, which is a thick shank. Okay, continuing to just hit it. It is fairly round. You can see that. Still a bit of a gap. It's a little bit large. Let's polish it up, see what happens. So I'm going to take a little bit of steel wool here. Ooh, ooh, ooh. That cleans up nice. Little did I know. Wow, check that out. Now you don't want to work this too much because what's going to happen is you're going to remove the plating. Right? Assuming, depending on where you got this from, assuming that there is still plating on there. It's a little dirty. I didn't bother washing it. You know, I figured I was going to be doing a lot of this anyway. But look at that. It does polish up nicely. Should probably clean the inside too, huh? Zoom out a little bit. Okay. So I wonder what would happen if I patinaed this. I'm going to clean it up a little bit more first. I don't think I would be putting sandpaper to the face of this because I think it would take out any of the, it would remove the plating. All right, I'm going to grab a paper towel. Debate. I'm thinking maybe liver sulfur? Okay. So I have a jar here of water. We're going to throw it into the microwave and see what liver sulfur results. Give me just a minute here. So we'll heat that up for about a minute. I want it really nice and hot because I want a dramatic change in this. All right, so put some stuff away here. Let's find our liver sulfur. Okay, so those of you who are watching, did you guys figure out what this is or what this is used for? Did anybody have an answer? Andy, you still there? Oh, opened the wrong bottle. I opened the container of Spirex. Oops. Yes, they look the same. Look at that. Very similar. Oops, it's a very old container of Spirex. All right, let's grab some liver sulfur out. Yes, here we are 2 years later, and I still have the same container of liver sulfur I've had now for stinking 10 years. Still working on it. Don't throw this stuff away. They're still usable. For the most part. All right. Some kind of draining implement. Straining. Yeah, maybe for olives. What do you think? I don't know. Okay, liver sulfur. There we are. We'll throw this in. Ooh, 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 ooh. Pull it out right away. Ooh, I like that. Look at that. Sort of some cool colors. Let's stop there. Rinse it real quick. Let's see where we go. Oh, I like that. Huh. Can you see that? Some cool colors. All right. Wasn't sure if I wanted to really go black, but what's cool is I've got some blues and some purples on the inside, which I did not exactly expect. And I'm cleaning the outside just to give it a little bit more emphasis to that color. So I'm going to gently see if I can clean off the rim here and give it a little punch. Oops, let's see. All right, and then I'm going to change over again to my Pro Polish pad, and we're just going to hit it, the surface, and try not to get in the middle because I like that blue contrast of a color. Huh. It's very Celtic looking, this design. Not my intention, but that's where we ended up. I'm feeling it for some rough surfaces. I have a rough surface here. Let's get that off while I'm seeing it. Okay. Ooh, a little bit more. Uh-huh. So Andy just Googled it. I don't know why I didn't bother Googling it. I guess I could have. Andy just Googled it, and I was right. This one is a butter fork. Oh, I'm sorry. He said this one is the butter fork. Butter fork? That one? I wonder why. Oh, anyway. Okay, so I'm cleaning off the edges. So this one approach to this, right? And just cleaning off the surface using a Pro Polish pad instead of the steel wool so that I don't get down into the crevices. I just want to surface clean it to brighten up the design and allow the contrast to happen. And I'm really digging, again, the color that's coming out of it. Can you guys see the green and the blues that's in there? Probably barely, but anyway, I like it. It's round enough for me, but to run with it. But there's the first one. All right, let's take a minute. Let's do the other one. Let's do this one real quick because I think it can be something. So I think what we need to do is go ahead and round off that edge too. And then, so we'll saw it, right? Hold on, grab my bench pen again. Let's get this set up. And I don't think I can do the same thing here, can I? Maybe. Nope. Okay, so the other fork is considered a food pusher. I don't know what that means. What does that mean, a food pusher? Aren't you supposed to like not push your food around? Just saying. Just saying. All right, I'm pulling out my pen and doing this because these ridges are not being helpful. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut a circle, assuming this is a good size. We'll see. We shall see. All right, let me tighten up my bench pin here. Okay, oops. All right, give me 1 second, I'm gonna switch over. Camera, stay still. Okay. And we'll do the same thing on this end. I'm doing this instead of filing because it should be faster. It's a lot of material to take off to get this to be rounded. So we'll do some filing after. Maybe I'm getting used to the way this is working because I'm finding that I'm sawing a little bit more easily than I did the first time. But remember, experience, giving yourself a little bit of experience goes a long ways, right? So as I'm sitting here working through this, I'm trying to think of easier, faster ways to do this. And I guess you could go into a larger file, or if you have a cutoff wheel on your flex shaft, you can use that instead too. That's a way to go to make this go a little bit faster. As I'm thinking about, gee, why would anybody want to really do this as a business? It's a little challenging. And you see people selling this stuff all the time at the shows. And it always makes me wonder how much work goes into this stuff. But I guess you can say it's not that much work in that, what, I'm making 2 rings in less than an hour? Really, I'm just adjusting someone else's work, right? I'm not putting too much into it. Okay, let's see if we can bend this. It's feeling really thick. Ugh. Okay, we'll switch cameras again. Okay. All right, same thing. I think this one might end up a little bit smaller. I hope it ends up a little bit smaller. And I'm just going to put it in here and I'm going to punch it down. Really hard. I suppose this is where your weighted mallet is helpful. You know, I'm going to stand up. Give myself a little bit more leverage to work with. And again, when you're doing something like this, you got to be really deliberate about your hammering or the metal's just going to get hard. As if it wasn't hard enough. I'm hitting this really hard. Okay, so this one is going to clearly be a lot smaller. We're at about a size, where are we? 6.5. I think I'm going to make it smaller to bring those ends together a little bit. I'm going to flip it over and do it from the other direction too to make sure that they are the same size. Let's see, so this is actually going to be a bit smaller than that 6 as I'm bringing in those ends. And you know, I'm gonna pull out my step mandrel. See how that works. See if it works any better. Yeah. I think I want this to be a 6, so I'm gonna open this up just a hair. Pushing it down. Oops. And see if I can get that open just a little bit to get over to the 6. Come on, baby. You can do it. There we go. Nice and tight on that 6 is great. So it's a hair off, you can see that, right? Slightly off right there and right there. Let's fix it. And putting it on the step mandrel should be helpful. And it is. Because we're just going to try to keep this cylindrical instead of conical. And then I don't have to flip this ring back and forth to make it work. Yeah, we're going to go with that 6. Cool. All right, let's clean this up a little bit and see what happens once we liver sulfur this. It cleans up nicely, which is sort of cool. We'll stick this in here and clean this like so. Nice. You see how nice it is inside there now? And that's just with steel wool. Again, don't overwork it because you don't want to remove any of the plating. The end feels pretty good. One tiny little sharp edge. And you know, this will also refine my sawing and take off any saw marks, which would be good too. Okay, actually, I'm gonna refine this just a little bit. I feel like there's some pot marks in here. I'm wondering if that's wear or what. I don't know. I think maybe the plating came off. That's okay. It was only worth a couple bucks. All right, let's stick it in here. Oh, liver sulfur. Sort of cool. But I think this time I'm going to leave it in here a little bit longer and see. Oh, yeah. That green is cool. It is warm liver sulfur. It'll work faster if you have it warm instead of cold. Okay, nice and dark. Let's rinse that. I know you clean it up just to make it all antique again. What the heck, right? It's good practice. All right, so there we are. So what I'm hoping for is once I polish this up, that the recesses will be nice and dark, but the high spots would be nice and polished. So pro polish pads, you know, it's funny, I was sitting here thinking about pro polish pads. I don't use them very often, but they come in really, really handy. And those of you who do PMC or metal clay are really used to pro polish pads. You guys use them all the time. I remember as a store when we first got into this, I had a woman working for us, and she was so smitten by it. She bought a whole bunch of them, went home and polished all of her silver utensils. It's hilarious. She's like, yeah, I just polished everything with them. It's great. I'm like, that's a really expensive way to go. Yeah, you can't go polishing. Or you could if you want. You have the money. Are okay with it. Polish everything in your home with a pro polish pad. It works. Okay, so right now I'm just hitting the sides again because I don't know why, but I like the edges really nice and bright. For me, it gives it a nice finish. Okay. There we go. So what do you think? You're going to be running out and doing spoon rings? What do you want this other spoon I have? Because I don't think I'm going to make another one. What am I going to do with it if I make it anyway, right? That's always the question for me. Okay, so you can see I have some nice definition in there because I liver sulfured it. And it makes, okay, it's a really small ring for me. It's okay. And remember, you can't heat it because if you do, you're going to just burn off the silver plating. And not knowing what's under it, I don't know whether or not soldering it is going to be very helpful. But I probably would use, if you really want to go down that road, I'd probably use some really, really, really low temp solder before trying anything else. Then that way you reduce the risk of burning the stuff off. Let's clean the inside. Okay, so where's my other ring? Okay, so there it is. 2 rings out of 1 spoon, and this was a large. It was a serving spoon size, right? It wasn't a soup spoon. Okay, so this one, the reason why it became so big is because I was trying to maintain the integrity of the design. I was keeping the design and using it to my advantage. And I think that's one of the things that's sort of fun about doing spoon rings, at the very least. You know, a lot of people have become very creative with them. I can't say that I am that creative person, but I can see how when you have different utensils like this and you have different designs, that you can use the design to your advantage. And that's, you know, if you're going to do it, why not? Take a look at the designs that you have and see how you can use it or utilize it to enhance whatever it is you're doing. So, you know, I was looking at this one and I thought, oh, you know, this could be a lot of fun too. Let's show you really quickly here. So if I was to do this one, right, I probably would cut out the inside because just that open shank would be a lot of fun. Just something completely different. And then you would just cut that open shank, that area open, and then you have this frame, and then you work your way down and bend that around. Why not? Again, I think it could be a lot of fun. So Pam just suggested that you can make napkin rings with these with spoon rings. Hey, that's a good idea. Who uses napkin rings though? I don't have any. Oh, maybe this is a reason why I should have some. But anyway, okay, so that's it. So like on this one, again, same thing, that you could use this end, also make 2 rings out of this and use it to your advantage just by utilizing some of the designs that are already there. So anyway, there it is. Anybody want this fork? Let me know. I'll throw it in your next order because I don't think I'm going to do anything with it. I was thinking that was going to take me a couple tries to actually make this project today. But I'm good. 1 try and done, right? 1 and done. I think I've learned something. It's really hard. You want to buy something that's probably thinner than what I have. This is, again, about 2 millimeters, 2.5 millimeters thick. It took quite a bit to bend it, but it could be a lot of fun. So what else did we learn? Anything else? Oh yeah, use heavy saw blades when you do this, and it will make life a lot easier. So that is it for me. Start something new. So we did 1 and done. Don't know what we're going to do next week, but you know what is this week that I'm very happy about? This week is virtual lever crafting. So thank you everybody who's registered for classes this week. It starts on Wednesday. So Wednesday is going to be a long but fun day of 1 hour shorts. If you have not registered for Virtually Ever Crafting, it's a great way to jump into this whole virtual medium. We have like 25 classes that are just 1 hour. It's a lot of information in a short amount of time for $22 each. You can still register for those classes. You can still register for actually any of the classes that are up there. You're not going to get your kit in time, but some of you guys don't need the kit to take the classes because, I know some of you have a lot of stuff in your arsenal and you don't need to order the kit. But anyway, it's always fun to have a kit though. I get it. But anyway, so you can still register for the classes. It's virtuallyevercrafting.com. And that's where I'm going to be Wednesday through Sunday this week. Do join us on Friday at 6:30 Central. The link is on the Virtually Ever Crafting site under Vendor Night. We are having I think about 10 vendors who will be selling to us virtually. So if you're looking for cabs or beads or findings or seed beads, do jump in. Everybody's welcome. It is free to attend or even just swing in to say hi. Again, it's 6:30 Central on Friday. We're having vendor night. The Zoom link is available on the virtuallyevercrafting.com site, and I'll post it again on the Q Talk page. So join us for that. Support our vendors. We're all still trying to get back into the swing of things with this whole pandemic thing. And so we're doing it virtually just to support all of the people in our community. All right. So until then, on next Monday, I'll be back and I'm going to start another new something. I don't know what. We'll figure it out and go from there. I haven't done the April schedule yet, but will soon. I know it's a busy month for me, and we'll see what happens. Okay. That said, have a great Monday. Enjoy your week, and I'll see you next week, if not this weekend.